Welcome dear friends to my video lecture on Buddhism and some important questions. The contribution made by Buddhism in India and also some relevant questions which would be very helpful for TRB examinations and also NET education examination. TRB education and NET education. Let us straight away enter into that topic. I will be giving part by part, each subheading will be treated and along with some questions. That will be easy for you to follow quickly and fruitfully. So let us straight away enter into the topic. What is the contribution of the Indian school of Buddhism philosophy? Buddhism, one of the key Indian philosophical traditions, has had a major influence on religious, social and ethical thinking both in India and around the world. Buddhism was founded by Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha, and it offers unique ideas about life, suffering and how to find freedom from suffering. The contributions of Buddhism to Indian philosophy are wide-ranging and continue to shape thought even today. It has challenged the traditional religion. One of the biggest contributions of Buddhism is this. It has moved beyond the rituals. So, changing traditional religion, moving beyond the rituals. Buddhism developed during the 6th century before Christ at a time when Indian religion, particularly the Vedic tradition, was focused on rituals, social hierarchies, and the authority of the Vedas, that is, sacred texts. Buddhism rejected the idea that liberation, that nirvana, could be achieved through rituals or by one's caste or birth. They rejected this. Instead, it focused on ethical behavior, personal responsibility, and direct experience as the keys to spiritual progress. Buddhism made spirituality more accessible. It taught that anyone, regardless of caste or background, could achieve enlightenment through their actions and mental discipline. This was a major shift from the rigid social and religious systems of the time, making the spiritual path more inclusive. The second contribution is understanding suffering. They gave the 4 noble truths and the eightfold path. That is the greatest contribution by Buddhism. Buddhism offers a deep understanding of human suffering and how to overcome it through the 4 noble truths, namely Dukkha, suffering exists; Samudaya, suffering is caused by desire; Nirodha, suffering can end; then Megha, the path to ending suffering is through the eightfold path. These are all Sanskrit words perhaps, in Pali perhaps. Samudaya, suffering is caused by desire; Nirodha, suffering can end; Magga, the path to ending suffering is through the eightfold path. The eightfold path is a guide for living an ethical, mindful and disciplined life. It includes a right understanding, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness and right concentration. These teachings focus on developing a peaceful mind and compassionate behavior toward others, emphasizing that everyone can work toward ending their suffering. The third contribution is Buddhism gave new ideas about the self and change. Buddhism contributed important ideas to Indian philosophy, especially about the self and the nature of existence. The Buddha rejected the concept of a permanent soul, Atman, that was central to many other Indian philosophies. Instead, Buddhism teaches us that what we call the self is actually made up of constantly changing physical and mental elements known as the 5 aggregates, skandhas. The idea of anatta, non-self, suggests that there is no unchanging soul or self, and this view helps explain why clinging to things or the idea of a permanent self leads to suffering. So there is no unchanging soul or self. They don't believe in it. That is an eternal soul, they are not believing in. That ties into the concept of anicca, impermanence, nilayame. which says that everything in life is always changing. Understanding this helps people let go of attachments and reduce their suffering. The fourth contribution will be the middle way and the concept of emptiness. Buddhist philosophy, particularly in the Mahayana tradition, introduced the concept of the middle way through the work of philosopher Nagarjuna. He developed the idea of shunyata, emptiness, which extends the teaching of impermanence. According to this view, all things are empty of a permanent essence because they depend on other factors for their existence. This concept of emptiness does not mean nothing exists, but rather that everything is interconnected and doesn't have an independent, unchanging nature. This idea challenges earlier Indian philosophical views, offering a middle path between seeing the world as either permanent or completely non-existent. Then the fifth contribution will be promoting compassion and non-violence. Buddhism has also had a significant impact on promoting compassion and non-violence in society. The idea of ahimsa is central to Buddhist teachings and influenced other Indian traditions, including Jainism and Mahatma Gandhi's movement for non-violent resistance. That is another contribution. Buddhists focus on compassion for all living beings, regardless of caste or status, helped break down social divisions. This teaching of kindness and empathy contributed to social change and became a key part of how Buddhism spread across India and other parts of Asia. Buddhist contributions to knowledge and reasoning. Buddhism also contributed to Indian philosophy by advancing ideas about how we gain knowledge and use logic. Philosophers like Tiknaga and Dharmakirti helped develop a Pramana theory which focuses on the methods of valid knowledge. They emphasized two main ways of knowing: perception, what we directly experience, and inference, what we can logically conclude based on evidence. This approach to knowledge encouraged a spirit of inquiry and reason, which influenced later Indian philosophical schools. It emphasized that personal experience and logical thinking are key to understanding the truth rather than relying solely on religious texts or authority. What can we give as concluding remarks? Buddhism's contribution to Indian philosophy is vast and transformative. It challenged old traditions and offered new ways to understand the self, reality, and the path to liberation. By teaching the principles of non-self, interconnectedness, and ethical living, Buddhism reshaped not only spiritual thinking but also the way people lived their everyday lives. Buddhist teachings continue to inspire individuals even today and communities by promoting compassion, mindfulness, and inner peace. Let us ask some questions. Let us reflect on some important questions based on this text. Who founded Buddhism? A. Mahavira, B. Siddhartha Gautama, C. Adi Sankaracharya, D. Swami Vivekananda. Of course we know Siddhartha Gautama. Siddhartha Gautama, known as the Buddha, is the founder of Buddhism. What was Buddhism's response to the Vedic traditions focus on rituals? A. It supported ritual practices. B. It remained neutral on rituals. C. It rejected rituals as path to liberation. D. It combined rituals with personal responsibility. What would be the correct answer? That is C. It rejected rituals as the path to liberation. Buddhism rejected the idea that rituals could lead to liberation, nirvana, emphasizing personal responsibility and ethical behavior instead. What did Buddhism emphasize as the key to spiritual progress? A. Wealth accumulation. B. Ethical behavior and mental discipline. C. Social status. D. Worship of deities. So ethical behavior and mental discipline, that was its focus. Buddhism taught that anyone could achieve enlightenment through ethical behavior and mental discipline, regardless of caste or background. Which of the following is not one of the four noble truths? A. Suffering exists, dukkha. B. Desire causes suffering, Samudaya. C. Suffering can end. Nirodha. D. Enlightenment can only be achieved by monks. So which of the following is not one of the four noble truths? That is, enlightenment can only be achieved by monks. This is not one of the four noble truths. The four noble truths do not suggest that only monks can achieve enlightenment. Buddhism teaches that anyone can achieve it through the Eightfold Path. The Eightfold Path in Buddhism includes all the following except one. What is that? A. Right understanding. B. Right intention. C. Right wealth. D. Right speech. Of course, it doesn't talk about right wealth. The Eightfold Path includes a right understanding, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration, but it does not mention right wealth. What is the concept of anatta in Buddhism? A. The belief in a permanent soul. The rejection of the idea of a permanent self. C. The worship of multiple gods. D. A belief in an eternal afterlife. What would be the correct answer? The concept of anatta, the meaning of anatta, that is the rejection of the idea of a permanent self. Anatta means non-self. They don't believe in self, suggesting no unchanging soul or permanent self, which is central to Buddhist teachings. What does the Buddhist concept of anicca, impermanence, suggest? A. Everything remains unchanged. B. Change is rare and insignificant. C. Everything in life is constantly changing. D. Only spiritual matters are subject to change. What would be the correct answer? Everything in life is constantly changing. That is called the anicca, the meaning of anicca, the concept of anicca, impermanence. Everything in life is constantly changing. Anicca refers to the impermanence of all things, teaching that nothing remains unchanged. What is the middle way in Buddhist philosophy? A path between indulgence and asceticism. B. A belief in extreme self-denial. C. A practice of extreme indulgence. D. A path focused only on wealth. What would be the correct answer? What is the middle way in Buddhist philosophy? That is a path between indulgence and asceticism. The middle way is a core Buddhist teaching that advocates for a balanced life, avoiding both extreme indulgence and severe asceticism. What does shunyata, emptiness, in Mahayana Buddhism refer to? A. The belief that nothing exists. B. The rejection of spiritual practices. C. The interconnectedness and lack of independent essence in things. D. The worship of multiple deities. So what does shunyata, emptiness, in Mahayana Buddhism refer to? It refers to the interconnectedness and lack of independent essence in things. Shunyata refers to the idea that all things are empty of an independent, unchanging essence because they are interconnected. Which Buddhist teaching had a major impact on promoting non-violence in Indian society? A. Ahimsa. B. Karma. C. Moksha. D. Varna. So which Buddhist teaching has a major impact on promoting non-violence in Indian society? Of course we know Ahimsa. Ahimsa or non-violence is a key teaching in Buddhism that influenced non-violent movements such as those led by Mahatma Gandhi. Which of the following concepts is related to the rejection of the caste system in India? A. Anicca. B. Dukkha. C. The inclusivity of the spiritual path. D. Rituals and sacrifices. That is the inclusivity of the spiritual. That is everyone can embrace this religion regardless of one's caste, creed, color. That is the idea of Buddhism. So Buddhism taught that anyone, regardless of caste or background, could achieve enlightenment, rejecting the rigid caste system. Yes. What is dukkha in Buddhism? A state of eternal happiness. B. A type of meditation. C. The existence of suffering. D. The end of all desires. Correct answer will be the existence of suffering. That is called dukkha in Buddhism. Dukkha is the first noble truth and refers to the reality of suffering in life. That is, suffering exists. Which philosopher contributed to the development of the concept of shunyata, emptiness. Tignaga, Nagarjuna, Dharmakirti, Shankara. That is Nagarjuna. Nagarjuna was a major philosopher in Mahayana Buddhism who developed the concept of shunyata, that is emptiness. What was Buddhism's stance on the Vedas? How does it view Vedas? A. It regarded them as the ultimate authority. B. It partially accepted them. C. It rejected their authority. D. It promoted strict adherence to them. Correct answer would be it rejected their authority, Vedas authority. Buddhism rejected the Vedic authority and the idea that liberation could be achieved through the rituals prescribed in the Vedas. They don't believe in rituals, in other words. What role did Dignaga and Dharmakirti play in Indian philosophy? A. They developed religious rituals. B. They advanced pramana theory and methods of valid knowledge. C. They promoted the caste system. D. They introduced the concept of eternal souls. Correct answer would be they advanced pramana theory and methods of valid knowledge. Dignaga and Dharmakirti contributed to the pramana theory, which focuses on perception and inference as valid methods of knowledge. According to Buddhism, what causes suffering? A. Wealth. B. Desires. C. Lack of rituals. D. Karma. That is desires. According to the second noble truth, suffering is caused by desire. Samudaya. D. What is the ultimate goal of Buddhist practice? A. Attaining heaven. B. Achieving nirvana. C. Acquiring wealth. D. Worshipping gods. That is achieving nirvana. The ultimate goal of Buddhism is to achieve nirvana, the state of liberation from suffering. Which practice is central to the Eightfold Path? A. Right concentration. B. Right wealth. C. Right birth. D. Right caste. Right concentration, that is central to the Eightfold Path, not other things. Right concentration is one of the practices in the Eightfold Path which focuses on mindfulness and disciplined meditation. Which of the following is not one of the 5 aggregates, that is khandhas, in Buddhism? A. Form. B. Sensation. C. Perception. D. Soul. So what is the answer? Soul. Buddhism teaches us that the self is made up of 5 aggregates: form, sensation, perception, mental formations, and consciousness. It rejects the idea of an eternal soul. So the soul should not come there. Other 3 okay. How did Buddhism contribute to social change in India? A. By promoting caste hierarchies. B. By emphasizing non-violence and compassion for all. C. By supporting religious rituals. D. By reinforcing the power of the Vedas. That is, how did Buddhism contribute to the social change in India? That is, by emphasizing non-violence and compassion for all. It doesn't believe in casteism, fundamental religiosity, etc. It is against that. Buddhism's focus on compassion and non-violence helped to reduce social divisions and contributed to social change across India. Thank you very much, dear friends. God bless you abundantly. Kindly subscribe so that I am boosted up to give more and more videos for you. Now I am dedicating my time for TRB exam as well as NET education, TRB education, NET education. One by one, topics are taken one by one and then given to you. And of course, soon I will be giving the PDF files of various types. PDF files according to the units also with the question bank, everything. So kindly go through all this and then give your comments also. Thank you very much for your presence.